I died on Christmas Eve, choking on my own blood as my husband's hands tightened around my throat. His face twisted into something unrecognizable, pure, venomous greed. "It's for the family, Sophia," he'd whispered, like a prayer, while my sister stood in the doorway, her eyes cold as the snow piling up outside our McMansion in suburban Chicago, nodding like it was just another holiday chore. The last thing I saw was the twinkling lights on the tree we'd decorated together, mocking me with their false warmth. Betrayed by the two people I loved most, all for a fortune I never even knew existed until it was too late. Then, nothing. Blackness. Endless and absolute. Like falling into an abyss where screams echo but no one hears. I relived it all in that void. The arguments over Grandpa's will. The accidental overdose they pinned on my stress. The way they'd laughed over champagne after the funeral. Toasting to the $92 million trust fund they'd clawed from my cold fingers. Grandpa's secret gift. That unassuming brass key he'd slipped into my palm during our last Christmas, whispering, "Guard this with your life,
Kiddo.
It's your future." I'd been too trusting, too buried in wedding plans and sisterly brunches to question it. Shared the code it unlocked with them, thinking family meant forever. Stupid. Dead stupid. And just like that, the void cracked open. Light pierced through, harsh and disorienting, pulling me back like a riptide. My eyelids fluttered, heavy as lead, and the first breath I took burned like fire in my lungs, not the ragged gasps of a dying woman, but the steady inhale of someone. Alive?
No.
Not just alive.
Young.
My heart hammered against ribs that felt too tight, too unbroken. I bolted upright, sheets tangling around me like restraints, and stared at hands that weren't gnarled by stress lines or the faint scars from that botched slip in the kitchen they'd staged. Smooth, 28-year-old hands. My hands, from 5 years ago. The room spun. This wasn't the sterile hospital room where I'd flatlined, monitors beeping their dirge. This was my old bedroom in the family home, Grandpa's sprawling Victorian in Oak Park, Illinois. The one with the creaky oak floors and wallpaper peeling at the edges like forgotten memories. The alarm clock on the nightstand blinked 6:47 a.m. December 24th, 2020. 5 years back. Before the engagement party lies. Before the whispers of inheritance turned my world to poison. Before they killed me. "Oh God," I gasped, my voice a stranger's, higher, less world-weary. My reflection in the vanity mirror across the room confirmed it, wide green eyes staring back, framed by chestnut hair still long and untamed, not the severe bob I'd adopted to look professional in those final months. I was me, but reset. Reborn.
重生.
As the old Vietnamese folktales my mom used to tell called it, a second chance snatched from the jaws of hell.
But why?
To what end? The answer clawed up from my gut, sharp as broken glass. Revenge. They didn't get away with it last time. They wouldn't this time. I stumbled to the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face. The porcelain sink grounding me as fragments of the future assaulted my mind. The betrayal hadn't started with the murder. It simmered for years. My husband-to-be, Jake, charming Jake with his Wall Street smile and promises of forever, had been siphoning funds from my startup. A little eco-fashion line I'd poured my soul into. He'd convinced me it was investing in us, but really, he was bleeding it dry to cover his gambling debts. And my sister,
Elena? Sweet. Ambitious Elena.
fresh out of law school, who'd idolized me once. She'd forged documents to claim I was unstable, paving the way for conservatorship over Grandpa's estate after his sudden heart attack. Turns out, she'd slipped something into his evening scotch. The autopsy called it natural causes. I called it murder. But no one listened to the grieving granddaughter. Grandpa's secret, that key, was the linchpin. I'd found the safety deposit box it opened only after his death, tucked away in a Chicago bank vault. Inside, deeds to properties across the Midwest, stocks in green energy firms, a trust balloon to $92 million from savvy investments he'd hidden to protect it from vultures like my uncle, a sleazy real estate developer. He'd chosen me as the steward because I was the only one who visited without asking for handouts, the one who listened to his stories of bootstrapping from immigrant roots in the 50s. "You're the heart of this family, Sophia," he'd said, pressing the key into my hand under the mistletoe that last Christmas. "Don't let them carve it out." But I had. Shared the details over holiday eggnog, thinking transparency built trust. Jake proposed that night. Elena hugged me tight, and the noose tightened. 5 years of subtle sabotage, Jake tanking my business with bad advice. Elena gaslighting me into therapy sessions where she helped document my breakdowns, culminating in that Christmas Eve, when they dosed my wine with fentanyl-laced painkillers from Jake's dealer contacts, staging it as suicide. The police bought it. White-collar couple. No enemies. Just a troubled wife. They split the fortune. Jake bought a yacht. Elena a partnership at her firm. Lived large while my ghost watched from afar. Not anymore. I dried my face, resolve hardening like frost on the windowpane outside. Snow blanketed the lawn, pristine and deceptive, just like the family gathering downstairs. Mom was probably in the kitchen, humming carols while prepping tamales, her nod to our Mexican heritage, oblivious to the rot.
Dad.
Ever the pushover accountant, buried in crosswords. Uncle Ray, the antagonist supreme, with his comb-over and predatory grin, already scheming how to contest the will. And there, in the living room, Grandpa alive, frail but sharp-eyed, wrapping that fateful gift. I dressed quickly, jeans, a cozy sweater, boots against the chill, and descended the stairs. Each creak a countdown. The house smelled of pine and cinnamon, the tree looming in the corner like a sentinel, ornaments glinting accusations. Voices drifted from the den, laughter, forced and brittle. Elena's high-pitched giggle cut through, followed by Jake's baritone charm. They were here early this year. To help with setup, Jake had texted last week. In my old timeline, I'd welcomed it.
Now?
It made my skin crawl. Sophia, Merry almost Christmas. Sleepyhead, Mom called from the doorway, wiping flour-dusted hands on her apron. Her smile was genuine, lines of worry absent, the ones that etched deep after my death. I forced a grin, hugging her tight, inhaling the scent of home that I'd forgotten in the grave's chill. Smells amazing.
Mom.
Where's everyone?
Dean.
Your grandpa's holding court. She eyed me curiously. You okay? Look like you saw a ghost. If only she knew. Just a bad dream. Nothing a coffee won't fix. The den was a time capsule. Leather armchairs, bookshelves groaning under law tomes and Western novels. A fire crackling low. Grandpa sat in his recliner, a blanket over his lap, his weathered face lighting up as I entered. 87. But his eyes, dark and piercing, held the fire of a man who'd outfoxed depressions and divorces. Sophia. "Mi nieta," he rumbled, extending a hand. I knelt beside him, pulse thundering. This was it, the moment. In 5 days. He'd pull me aside,
Slip me the key.
last time. I'd tucked it away, forgotten in wedding frenzy. This time, I'd wield it like Excalibur. We chatted surface stuff. Weather. My promising business launch. Elena breezed and then. All blonde waves and designer jeans. Air kissing my cheeks.
Sis.
God. You look exhausted. Late night brainstorming that little shop of yours. Her tone dripped condescension. The same she'd honed over brunches where she'd advise me on scaling up, code for undermining.
Jake followed.
Tall and golden boy handsome. Wrapping an arm around my waist like ownership. Hey.
Babe.
Missed you up there. His kiss lingered too long. Possessive. I stiffened but played along, leaning into him just enough to sell it. Inside. Bile rose. I remembered his text to Elena. She's clueless. Once she's out, it's ours. The morning blurred into prep, stringing lights, baking cookies, the facade of festivity masking the undercurrents. Uncle Ray arrived with his trophy wife, a Botoxed 20-something named Tiffany, bearing store-bought pies and veiled barbs about family unity. He cornered Grandpa by the tree. Voice low, "Dad, about the will, we should talk revisions. Times are tough." Grandpa waved him off. But I saw the strain, the secret weighing him down. By afternoon, exhaustion tugged at me, not from the day, but the weight of 2 lifetimes. I slipped upstairs for a breather, locking the bathroom door and sliding to the floor. Tears came hot and furious. Why me? Why this curse of foresight? But beneath the grief, a plan flickered. Revenge wasn't blind rage, it was surgical. Expose them.
Piece by piece.
Start with the key, secure it, decode its power without their knowledge. Then, unravel Jake's debts, Elena's forgeries. Controversial? Hell yes. I'd hack accounts, plant evidence, maybe even seduce truths from their lips. Morally gray? In the grave. Morality was a luxury. Survival demanded teeth. A knock shattered the quiet. Soph, you in there? Jake's voice, laced with feigned concern. Be out in a sec, I called, wiping my face. Deep breath. The game began now. Dinner was a minefield, turkey carved with precision. Wine poured like hemlock. Toasts rang out health, prosperity,
Love.
Elena's eyes met mine over her glass. A flicker of something ambition? Envy? She raised her drink. To Sophia, the dreamer. May your wild ideas pay off. Laughter rippled, but I clinked glasses, smiling like a shark. Grandpa caught my eye then, a subtle nod toward the hallway. My heart stuttered.
Showtime.
As plates cleared, he beckoned me to the study, away from the din. The room was his sanctuary, desk cluttered with ledgers, a safe humming in the corner. He closed the door, the click echoing like a loaded chamber.
Seat. Kiddo.
His voice was gravel.
Urgent.
From his pocket, he drew a small velvet pouch, tipping out the brass key ornate, etched with vines, heavy in my palm. This unlocks more than doors. Sophia. It's the key to the vault at First National. Deeds, bonds, everything I've built, shielded from your uncle's grubby paws. 92 million. Give or take. It's yours to steward, But only if you promise. Tell no one. Not your sister. Not that boy you're sweet on. Family's a blade sometimes. Sharpest from those closest. I gripped it, the metal biting cold.
Last time. 이대노다. Pocketed it.
Shared later in trust. This time, I met his gaze. Voice steady. I swear.
Grandpa.
It's safe with me. He searched my face, then pulled me into a hug. Frail arms strong with legacy. Good girl. Merry Christmas. As I slipped the key into my bra, hidden, intimate, I felt the shift. Not just a second chance, but a weapon. Downstairs, the carol swelled. I'll be home for Christmas. Irony bit deep. They thought they knew my home. But this Christmas, I'd burn theirs down. The day's post-key handover blurred into a fevered dream of duality, smiling through family rituals while my mind mapped battle lines. Christmas morning dawned crisp and white, the Illinois wind howling like a warning as we tore into gifts under the tree. Elena squealed over a cashmere scarf from Jake, draping it like a noose. You're the best, babe, she purred, kissing his cheek. He grinned, but his eyes flicked to me, appraising. In the old timeline, that gaze had warmed me. Now, it slithered. I played my part, unwrapping Grandpa's practical gift, a leather-bound journal, innocuous cover for the real treasure burning against my skin. For your ideas? Soft, he winked. I hugged him fierce, whispering, thank you for everything. He patted my back, oblivious to the storm I'd unleash. Uncle Ray's present was a tacky crystal decanter, engraved with family first. Hypocrite. I'd seen the emails in my future memories, him coaching Elena on probate loopholes, promising her a cut if she handled Grandpa's decline. Tiffany simpered through it all, scrolling her phone for influencer gigs. Mom and Dad exchanged practicalities, a new blender. Golf balls, like normalcy, could ward off the wolves. Jake's gift to me? A diamond tennis bracelet, flashy and fake deep. For the woman who's everything, he said, clasping it on. My stomach churned, but I cooed appreciation, even as I recalled pawning it for bail money after my suicide investigation fizzled. Elena watched, her smile a scalpel. Jealous. Cease. He's a keeper. Post unwrapping. The house emptied into chaos, kids from cousin visits shrieking through tag, adults nursing mimosas by the fire. I excused myself to check emails, locking in the study with my laptop. First move, reconnaissance. Using the Wi-Fi password etched in my reborn brain, I accessed the bank's public portal, dummy account to test waters. The key's code. Grandpa had murmured in a later, hypothetical chat, 12252020, Christmas. My birth year. Input it mentally. It fit. Vault access confirmed. $92 million. Diversified. Real estate in Chicago lofts. Tesla stocks pre-boom. Even a chunk in sustainable agritech. Ironclad. Revocable only by Grandpa or me. But knowledge was ammunition. Action was the trigger. I needed proof of their schemes, irrefutable, court-ready. Jake's phone buzzed in my mind's eye. Apps for offshore betting. Crypto scams. Elena's firm laptop. Encrypted folders on estate planning. Controversial? I'd start small. Borrow Jake's phone while he napped off ham. Easy.
Trust was our currency then.
Unlocked with his birthday, ironic. Valentine's. Scrolling texts, flirty exchanges with a Vegas contact, debts piling to $200,000. Screenshots captured. Emailed to a burner Gmail I'd set up pre-birth haze. Elena's turn came at the afternoon cookie swap. She left her purse on the counter. Soft. Grab my lipstick. Bingo. Inside, sleek tablet. Passcode her sorority chant. Alpha Chi Omega. Forever. Files galore. Contingency planned docs. Notes on facilitating Grandpa's exit. Dosages. Timelines. Heart attack mimicry via digoxin. My hands shook, but I forwarded zips to the burner. Then wiped traces. Plant the seeds. Not confrontation yet, erosion. That night, as snow thickened, Jake pulled me onto the porch swing for our moment. The air bit sharp, stars pricking the velvet sky.
Babe.
I've been thinking after the wedding, we consolidate. Your biz. My trades. One empire. His hand on my thigh, warm but cloying. I leaned in, lips brushing his ear. Sounds perfect. But what if there's more? Like, family more. Testing waters. He tensed, imperceptibly. What do you mean? Grandpa's been.
Cryptic.
Gifts with strings.
Lie. Bait.
A beat. He's old. Soft. Let it go. We're the future. His kiss then was urgent, masking calculation. I reciprocated.
Bilirsin.
Mind racing. He'd kill for less than $92 million. This intel? It'd make him desperate. New Year's loomed. Family dispersing like smoke. Elena lingered. Girls' weekend, invite to her condo downtown. Spill on Jake any cold feet? Her eyes probed, fishing for weaknesses. None, I lied, sipping rose on her balcony, overlooking the Loop's neon sprawl. Chicago glittered, a beast of steel and secrets. Her place screamed success, minimalist chic, law awards on shelves. While she poured seconds, I accidentally knocked her tablet unlocked screen. Quick dive into browser history. Searches, undetectable poisons, probate challenges Illinois.
Chilling.
More screenshots. But revenge whispered darker paths. Controversial decisions loomed. Frame them? Leak to press? Torch reputations pre-crime? Or play long game? Let them dig their grave? Sleepless nights debated it. Ghost memories fueling fury.
Ide bakashurin.
Throat phantom bruised. Jake's whisper echoing. For the family. January thawed into February. My engagement month. Jake proposed on the 14th, same as before. Eiffel Tower ring under Paris lights. A weekend getaway. His treat. I said yes. Tears staged. But inside?
A vow.
Use the wedding as Trojan horse. Invite the vultures. Expose mid-vows?
No.
Too theatrical. Sutler, prenup laced with clauses, tying his finances to audits. Business-wise, I pivoted hard. Old me followed Jake's advice, diluting equity. New me? Fired bad hires his plants. Secured venture capital from Grandpa's contacts, discreet calls. Keys, leverage unspoken. My eco-line boomed, sustainable dresses in organic cotton. Popping on Instagram.
Elena noticed.
Accidentally emailing sabotage. Heard your supplier flaked. Need a lawyer? I forwarded to my burner. Building the dossier. Spring bloomed treacherous. Uncle Ray hosted Easter brunch in his Naperville McMansion. Tiffany's Pilates toned, arms serving quiche. Whispers of Grandpa's health dip, a fall he blamed on ice. But I knew Elena's helpful meds trial. I cornered her in the powder room. Cease. You're pushing too hard. Let him be. Her laugh tinkled false. Protective much?
He's fine.
Focus on your rock. But her eyes, guilty flickers. That night, I escalated. Anonymous tip to Ray's rival developer. Leaking his tax dodges from future recalls.
Petty? Yes.
Payback's prelude. Summer scorched. Wedding planning a farce. Bridal showers. Tastings. Elena's maid of honor role chafing like ill-fit silk. Jake's bachelor trip to Vegas? I hacked his itinerary via shared calendar, alerting his bookie anonymously. Debt snowballed, his charm cracked. Snappish over dinners. Pressure at work, he'd mutter. I soothed, plotting. Grandpa weakened, hospital stays lengthening. I visited daily. Keys power mobilized, transferred assets quietly.
Ironclad Trust's naming me sole executor.
You're glowing. Sophia, he rasped one July afternoon. Monitors beeping softly. Like you found your fire. I did, I whispered, squeezing his hand. Thanks to you. Fall leaves turned blood red, mirroring my rage. Elena's bar passed. She joined Ray's firm, conflict brewing. Jake's trades tanked. Our joint account hemorrhaging. Arguments escalated. You're reckless, he'd yell.
Supportiva? Irikun?
Voice calm as a loaded gun. Halloween party at our loft. Costumed revelry masking marital frost. Elena arrived as Morticia. Jake as Gomez, irony lost on them. I went as Lady Macbeth. Ambition's ghost. Over punch. She cornered me. Soft. Jake stressed. The wedding. Maybe postpone. Scared we'll outshine you? I quipped. Controversial barb slipping. Her face paled. She stormed off. Jake later. What the hell? She's family. So are you, I said, eyes locked. Prove it. Thanksgiving gathered us again. Tensions taut as turkey strings. Grandpa out on hospice, but present in spirit, his chair empty. A placeholder. Ray droned on politics. Trump-era gripes. Elena nodded. Eyes on me. Post-feast. Jake pulled me aside. Babe.
I.
Borrowed from the business.
For us.
Payback's coming.
Confession? Trap.
I feigned shock. Then solace. We'll fix it. Together.
Inside. Gotcha.
Recorded on hidden phone app. New me's paranoia perk. December crept in. Snows early and vicious. Wedding a month away. My dossier swelled. 50 gigabytes of sins, texts, files, financial trails. Revenge's climax neared. But doubt gnawed. Expose now. Shatter Mom's world? Or let the noose tighten. Strike fatal? Christmas Eve dawned. 5 years to the minute of my death. The house thrummed prep. I slipped to the vault pre-dawn. Key turning smooth.
Asset secured 92 mine.
Untouchable. Back home. Wrapping final gifts. USBs of evidence. Labeled for cops. They arrived. Jake with forced cheer. Elena with veiled barbs. Dinner loomed. The tree mocking anew. As plate set, Jake poured wine, my trigger. Old habit, to us. I raised mine. Untouched. To truths. The clink of glasses hung in the air like a guillotine blade. Suspended. Mom's dining room glowed under chandelier light. Candles flickering shadows across faces etched with holiday strain. Grandpa's absence loomed largest, hospice bed 2 towns over. His fight waning. But I felt him here, in the key's weight against my chest, in the fire fueling my veins.
5 years ago this night.
That same wine had sealed my fate.
Tonight?
It'd unmake theirs. Jake's eyes narrowed at my toast, a micro-twitch in his jaw. Truths.
Huh? Deep.
Soft. He sipped, charm cracking like thin ice. Elena shot me a glance, wary, calculating, her fork pausing midair over cranberry sauce. Poetic, she chimed, recovering. To family secrets. Then, laughter rippled awkwardly. Uncle Ray boomed approval. Oblivious. Tiffany scrolled TikTok.
Detached.
Mom beamed, clinking along. Dad murmuring grace notes on unity. I smiled, serene as a storm's eye, and excused myself to the kitchen for more rolls. Heart pounding. I palmed my phone, hitting send on the pre-drafted email blast, dossiers to Elena's firm ethics board, Jake's boss at Goldman, Ray's real estate board, and controversial gut punch, a local news tip line. Attachments, proofs, timelines, even AI reconstructed voice memos from hacked clouds. No accusations, just facts. Let the hounds bay. Back at table. Normalcy fractured. Jake's phone buzzed once.
Twice.
He glanced.
Baling.
Work crap. Ignore. But Elena's did too. Her laugh dying mid-note. What the spam? She angled away, typing furiously. Dessert dragged, pie sliced, coffee steaming. I watched them squirm, a predator's thrill coiling low. Controversial? Leaking private sins to public scrutiny, ruining careers pre-verdict. But they'd murdered for less. Grandpa's rasp echoed, families ablaze, time to wield mine. Post-meal, the ritual, tree-side chats. Gifts restacked for symmetry. Jake cornered me by the hearth, breath hot with Merlot. Soft. We need to talk. Money's tight, your startup's bleeding. Maybe fold it into mine. Old me would have crumbled.
New?
I met his gaze. Voice velvet over steel. Or maybe uncover why it's bleeding. Your investments, Jake? The Vegas slips? He froze, eyes widening. What the hell? Spying now? Observing, I corrected. Like you observed my instability with Elena's help. Elena's approach cut the tension, salvage mode. Everything okay? Lovebirds. Her smile didn't reach eyes. Phone clutched like a shield. Peachy, I said, stepping back. Just airing truths. The room hushed as Jake's device erupted, notifications pinging like gunfire. Elena's followed, her face draining to ash.
This
can't, she bolted for the hall. Voice shrill. Sophia, what did you do? Mom rose.
Confused.
Girls? What's wrong? Ray lumbered after.
Bellowing. Elena? Talk to me.
Jake rounded on me. Voice low venom. You bitch. The accounts, the texts.
How?
Key insight, I replied.
Calm.
Grandpa taught me. Guard what's yours. Comprehension dawned.
Ugly.
The old man's stash. You knew. All this time. The front door slammed. Elena stormed back. Tablet in hand. Tears streaking mascara. Firm suspending me. Forgery probes, Sophia. You leaked it? My career. Not me, I lied smooth. Karma's got good aim. Chaos erupted, calls fired off, accusations flying. Ray roared at Elena. You forged what? While Tiffany live tweeted the meltdown. Hashtags flying. Mom sobbed. Dad mediating futile. Jake lunged, grabbing my arm, bruising grip. We'll fix this. Marry me tomorrow. Prenup be damned. It's us against them. I wrenched free. Voice ice. Us. You choked the us out of me 5 years from now. Fentanyl in the wine.
Jake.
Elena's digoxin for Grandpa. I remember. Every gasp. Silence crashed. Heavier than snow. Eyes turned. Horror. Disbelief.
Elena Lauged.
Brittle. Crazy talk. Stress. Soft. Like always. But Jake blanched, releasing me.
You. What? No. Lies.
Truths, I echoed, pulling the key from hiding, holding it aloft like a talisman. This unlocks $92 million. Grandpa's gift to me, the steward, not the scavenger. You killed for it once. Won't get the chance again. Mom gasped, crossing herself. Sophia. Mi hija, what are you saying? Ray's face twisted, greed to fury. That old coot promised me. Promise nothing, I snapped. You poisoned him for scraps. Check your email, Uncle. IRS flags on those donations. Sirens wailed distant. My final touch. 911 text from the kitchen. Family disturbance. Possible assault. Controversial? Weaponizing law against kin. But justice wasn't polite. It was raw. Cops arrived swift. Badges gleaming under porch lights. Statements taken amid sobs and snarls. Jake cuffed first, assault. Plus fraud warrants pinging from my tips. Elena next. Embezzlement and conspiracy. Ray hauled for questioning. Tiffany fleeing to her SUV. Live streaming sobs. Mom clutched me, weeping. Is it true? My babies. Truth hurts, I murmured, holding her. But lies kill. Grandpa's nurse called then stable, asking for me. I drove through blizzard veils, key in pocket, heart fracturing. At his bedside, tube snaking, he gripped my hand. Heard the commotion.
You did it.
All of it, I whispered. They're done. His chuckle wheezed. My firebrand. The money, use it right. For good. I will. He slipped away at dawn. Peaceful, natural. This time.
No poisons. No plats.
Funeral was small. Press swarming Jake's and Elena's indictments. Trials dragged. Jake's plea for 15 to life on manslaughter. They couldn't prove premeditated murder. But fraud stuck.
Elena disbarred.
5 years for forgery and elder abuse. Ray bankrupt. Properties seized.
Me?
The $92 million rebuilt. Eco-empire expanded. Scholarships for immigrant kids like Grandpa's stories. Mom healed slow. Dad's quiet support anchoring.
No wedding. No ghosts.
Twist came months later, sorting Grandpa's attic. A letter surfaced sealed for me, dated pre-death. If you're reading this, kiddo, you guarded the key. But remember, revenge is a mirror. It reflects you back sharper. Forgive what you can, fight what you must. Love.
Abuelo.
Tears blurred ink. I'd won justice. Legacy. But the blade cut both ways. Sleepless nights lingered. Echoes of chokes and laughs. Happy ending? For them. Tragedy. For me, rebirth's cost, a heart scarred, but beating free. This Christmas, alone in the Victorian with new lights twinkling, I raised a glass to shadows banished, to second chances. The snow fell soft, washing clean